Good afternoon or morning. This is Charles Sterling from Sterling Power Products. Basically, I want to do a quick thing on this sheet here. It's about 48 volt systems on boats or camper vans. So hopefully you'll get this up on the screen now. You can download this, and what I'm trying to do is build a system for you, because when you look at a sheet of paper like this, you tend to pass out, have a heart attack, and other nasty things happen to you. So let's go through this bit by bit. So basically, I'm going to build you this 48 volt, 5.5 kilowatt system, explain what each thing is, why you need it, what advantages there are. But basically, all this stuff is currently available from Sterling Power Products, so you can build this system. So what I'm going to start out with is really why you would want it. Well, people are moving to 48 volts because A, it's lower cost, B, it's much, much more powerful. If you're simply wanting to run, lights and a fridge on a small boat, waste of time looking at the system. But gas has been forced off boats and caravans and camper vans and things, and you're going to need a lot more power to run your boat, your larger boat or whatever. This system will start at about 5.5 kilowatts, but you can increase it. You can put 2 of them on, 2 inverters, giving you 11 kilowatts, put 3 on, knock yourself out, put 20 on if you feel the need. So this can be totally expanded. It can even be contracted if you want to, make a 12 or 24 volt system. We have the same sort of stuff as well. But 48's coming in, smaller wires, inverters and chargers are much cheaper because the higher you go up in voltage, the lower cost. So for example, a 5.5 kilowatt pure sine wave combi in here, probably retailing at £1,200, whereas a 5.5 kilowatt 12 volt combi, a real 5.5, not like a 5,000, but a real 5.5 kilowatt one, probably £3,000-4,000. So a lot cheaper to go 48 volt. Yeah, everything is just better at 48 volts, cabling, etc., etc. So let's build this system, what you need, why you need it, and let's just start at the start. So the starting point would be your boat engine. So if you go with this drawing here, so here's your boat engine here. So on your boat engine, you would have your 12 or 24 volt system, your normal alternator here. On the other side, you would put our new 48 volt, 100 amp alternator. Now you can put 1 on here, you can put 2 on, again, put 6 on if it floats your boat. So this is the 5.5 kilowatt alternator. So you put that on your engine manufacturer can put that on, or if you already have a 12 volt or 24 volt system, you can easily just drop in the 48 volt system. Now bear in mind, this is a 5.5 kilowatt production alternator or 48 volt 100 amp. That's about 5 kilowatts of power. They're not efficient. Probably the best part of 12 horsepower this alternator will pull off your engine. So there's no point putting this on an 8 horsepower engine. You will have a bit of a problem. So you want to be looking at least a 30, 40 horsepower engine. And then you will still feel it. When this thing kicks in, you will know about it. Obviously, bigger engines won't have the same problem. So your 5.5 kilowatt, 48 volt alternator, that then goes simply straight to your battery bank. So this is your lithium ion battery bank. Could use lead acid, but very unadvisable. Lithium ion is by far, the way to go. I'll talk a bit more about lithium in a second. So let's stick with this alternator. Now, the thing with lithium is, the good thing about lithium is that it will charge fast. The bad thing about lithium is it'll charge fast. So the great thing about lithium will self-destruct pretty much lots of stuff that's connected to it. So if you connect lithium directly to an alternator, the lithium will absorb every goddamn thing the alternator can produce. The end result is, if you have a really good alternator in a lovely cool environment, there's no problem, alternators are current limiting. But if you have an alternator in an engine room, the ventilation is a bit dodgy, blah, 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 most people would recommend you only run an alternator at about 80% of its power. So in order to do that, you need a few more gizmos. So that's the first problem with lithium, and this is with all alternators, not just our one, just every alternator will suffer the same consequences. So the second problem is lithium batteries are controlled by a BMS or battery management system. Now, some of these battery management systems, you could be charging hard because the lithium will, take the juice. And then all of a sudden the battery management system says, okay, dude, I'm full. So literally stops. Now, as you know, with alternators on your isolation switches, it all says, do not switch off while the engine is running. And that's because an alternator is like, it's got residual magnetism. So if you stop an alternator, the magnetism in the alternator is still there instantaneously. So it can't make the power to push it down the cable, so it turns the voltage and you get a big spike, and that's what blows up the regulators and all this sort of stuff. So you should never switch an alternator off while it's running, but that's exactly what a BMS will do with lithium batteries. So you need another little device for that. And the third problem is this is a 48 volt alternator. Your system on your boat could be 12 volts or 24 volts, whatever. You won't be able to work the alternator. So there's three problems there. One is firing the alternator up, switching it on and off with 12 or 24 volts. The second one is the BMS on the lithium batteries will just instantly stop the odd time and then come back on again and then stop again, come back on again, which will destroy your regulator and anything else connected to the system. And the third thing is just purely the current limiting, where the thing is overworking. So how do we get over this? The first thing is we have this device here, which connects to the alternator, and that's a surge arrestor. So this one here is got it around the right way. That is the surge arrestor on the drawing. So what that does, it connects to the alternator. If the alternator open circuits, then the spike is absorbed by this little box, so it doesn't cause any problems. So even if it goes back on again, open circuits again, goes back on again, it's not a problem. The spike arrestor sorts that out. Again, this is with every alternator to do with lithium batteries. The second thing then is this unit here, which again connects to the alternator. Now what this does is, one, you can turn down the current. So say it's the 100 amp alternator, again, only for this alternator. This is for the 48 volt alternator, the Sterling 48 volt, it will not work in anybody else's alternator. So you can turn the current down. So you might have 100 amps and then somebody says, oh, that's a wee bit too hot. Turn it down 90, 80, 70, whatever. You can turn it down to whatever you want. And also this allows 12 volts to activate the alternator. So although it's a 48 volt alternator, you'd want an ignition feed to switch the alternator on and off when the engine's running. So you can activate this with 12 or 24 volts, depending on what your main engine is. So that your activation and your current limit, and then this one here is your surge protector. So that's all the problems sorted as far as your lithium battery goes. Now, the lithium battery, the reason you want to go for them is they're lighter. The normal lead acid batteries, you discharge them once, they're wrecked. These here, these will last 25 years, not changing your batteries every couple of years, or somebody leaves the lights on and discharges them right the way down, wrecks the batteries in one sitting. So I'm not even going to have the discussion about lithium better than lead acid. I just would like to say anyone who thinks lead acid is better than lithium, basically, you're an idiot, go somewhere else. It's just, discussion isn't even worth having. So lithium batteries only, please. If you want to have lead acid, knock yourself out, but it's just pointless. Anyway, so you've got your lithium battery bank. Now that can be any size you want. There's, again, no limit. It's up to you. This is a 100 amp alternator. The whole idea of this is you're wanting more power. So you've never heard anyone whinging about having too many batteries. It's always, we haven't got enough. So slap them in wherever you can put them, stick them in. I can't tell you what size of battery bank you need because it's up to you. It's what you use. So we have like 48 volt lithium batteries. It's better to go for 48 volt batteries rather than 12 volts. So 4 12 volts will work, but you need to put battery balancers in between each, cell. Now we have the waterproof batteries, which is the normal red. Again, you can get the sheet of paper, the batteries are down here, or you've got the 19-inch rack batteries where we can do 150 amp, 48 volt 19-inch rack. Same battery, just looks different. Some people like the 19-inch rack, certainly on bigger boats, and other people like the red batteries because they're waterproof. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, whatever floats your boat. So this is your battery bank. So we've now got the alternator working and we've got our battery bank. So that's your sort of core system done. Next, we'll look at the inverter charger. So we've got this new range of inverters, chargers here called the Vulcan. Okay, so this is the Vulcan inverter charger. Comes in 2 different formats, basically. There's a 240 volt, which can be added in series, so you can have 5.5 kilowatts. It's a real 5.5 kilowatts, again, not a 5,000 or a, 5,000, which are actually about 4,000, 4 kilowatts, not 5. It gives you the impression they're 5. They're not. You have to bring power factors and all sorts of nonsense in. So these are real 5.5 kilowatt continuous. Now they can be added in series, or you can get a slightly different version, put them in parallel. It doesn't matter. So they're relatively low cost. Not only are they inverters, they're obviously battery chargers as well. So you've got up to about 80 amps at 12 volts. Again, power reduction. So if you go somewhere and you haven't got enough juice, you can reduce the power on the charging. Again, as I said, they can be added in series or parallel to give you 3-phase or multiple, more powerful single phase. The shore power comes into here, into the Vulcan. So you've got your shore power going into the Vulcan. So that is charging your battery. And then you've also got the 240 volts coming out to go to your 240 volt distribution system. It's also got solar in it. So your solar cells here, which can then go into the unit as well. Now the solar has to be at least 125 volts. So you have to add your solar up in series. So you need, about 6 normal solar cells minimum in order to get the voltage up, in order to use the solar system in the box. It's between 120 volts or 125 up to about 500 volts. So it's a fairly big system. If you only have like 3 or 4 solar panels, then there's no problem. Just use a conventional solar system to charge the 48 volt battery. We do solar systems that'll take if you only have 1 panel for the sake of argument, which will take like 30 volts and boost it up to 125 volts, or anything in between. Or you can just get like 30 volts to 48 volts. So there's a dozen things in here. If you don't have enough solar to run it, we have other solutions for charging solar. So it's not an issue, but it's a video in itself. On the 240 volt output side here, obviously this is going to go to your washing machines, your air conditioning, your hobs. We have a full range of induction hobs. So your 240 volt out there is pretty much unlimited. You might want single phase, you might want 440 volts, 3-phase. Just put 3 of the Vulcans in, 3 of the inverter chargers into series or parallel series, into series if you want the 440 volts. Again, no limit, 5.5 kilowatts. You want more than that, put 2 on. 11 kilowatts, you want more than that, put 3 on, etc., etc. So there's no limit to the amount of power here. So that's your 240 volt system there. Right, so if we keep on going, back to your lithium battery bank. One of the slight problems with lithium battery banks, although they all have BMSs and everybody likes to use their phones and stuff, it's a pain in the butt. You have 6 batteries. You don't want to be going around 6 individual batteries. Also, the BMS on lithium batteries, battery management system, when you look at it on your Bluetooth and your phone, it has a slight problem where it will only read current draw over, say, 1 or 2 amps. It's a pretty agricultural thing. So if you've got a big battery bank like this and you've got 6 or 10 LED lights on, your BMS in your batteries, totally useless. You're not going to read anything. So you could, worst case scenario, read that your batteries are fully charged on your phone and they could be stone cold empty. So the BMS on your phone app, it is what it is. Some people think it's great. I think it's personally a waste of time. So what you need is a battery management system which will external to the BMS, which will tell you whether your batteries are full, empty, or what state they're in. And that's our BM2 here. So the BM2 simply connects to the negative at the on the battery bank, and this will give you what percentage your batteries are full. It'll read down to 0.001 amp. So, 1,000 times more accurate, 1,000 times, it'll read things 1,000 times less. So if you do put your LCD light on a massive battery bank like that, it'll still be able to read that you're consuming power. So look at the BM2, with BM1, depends on your budget, and that will allow you all the other information, what you're drawing out at the minute, what you're putting in at this actual second, your percentage full, how much longer you've got left, etc., etc., etc. So that's your battery management system. Right, let's carry on down here. Now you've got your 48 volt system all up and running, but you've got a 12 volt generator, you've got a 24 volt bow thruster, you've got some other weird and wonderful voltages on your boat, which is what they're there for. So we do a complete range of battery to battery chargers, power supplies, all that sort of stuff. So you might have your 48 volts, but you have, say, 12 volt starter battery, and you want to, top up your 12 volt battery, just keep it topped up, and because you've got this huge 48 volt battery, and you might just want to keep your 12 volts battery going because you've got your solar going here and you want your 12 volt engine start battery going, or a genset battery or whatever. So you simply get a 48 to 12, so it'll be a 48 to 12 DC-DC converter or battery to battery charger, depending on what you want to do. So you could do 48 to 24. You can do 48 to 36. You can do two 48 to 12. You can different generators, different engines, whatever. So there's no limit to what you can take off. Bear in mind all these new power supplies, same as the inverter, didn't mention that. With these combis, these weigh about 5 or 6 kilos. Competitors' combis weigh about 40. Now, the reason is that these are what's known as H-bridge. These are the new technology. So these are running around at about 94% efficient. Older technologies, the older combis using transformers, are between 80 and 90%. So you're literally getting 10 to 15% more juice out of these. The DC-DC things, again, older DC-DC or battery-to-battery chargers were about 80-85% efficient. These new things are 96% efficient. So the efficiency loss is relatively irrelevant. So don't worry about putting 10 of these on if you have to for whatever your system is. Just pick and mix, knock yourself out, do whatever you want. So there's no limitation here on what takeoff you want to do. It's just take off whatever you want from the 48 volt system. So that covers all your discharge angle and your charge angle. Then just a little bit left over would be your engine start battery. Now, if it's only a 12 or it's only a 30 amp alternator or anything, just leave it on the engine. It's not going to make any noticeable contribution. This is the engine start battery here. But if it's, say, for some reason you've got an 80 amp alternator or something, then you might want to utilize, some of that juice. So you can get another battery to battery charger here. You can put that on there. Go from this battery here, say you've got an 80 amp alternator, put a 60 amp battery to battery to 12 to 48. And then that will contribute some juice into the domestic battery bank as well. So as long as everything's charged in this domestic battery bank, everything's good. Don't forget the input here can also go to a genset. There, so you can have a genset. What we've seen here, if you've got a genset and your genset's say 10 kilowatts or 15 kilowatt, it might be economic to fit 2 of these Vulcans. Not that you need the extra 5 kilowatts, but you might want the extra 5 kilowatts charging, because when you switch your genset on, you want to charge as much as possible. So certainly on things like ice cream vans that we do a lot of, people want the fast charging, and these Vulcans are so well priced that you can literally look at it as, well, charge only or inverter charger. So we sell the Vulcan as a charger. If you want a 48 volt charger, buy the Vulcan. Don't use the inverter output. Who cares? If you want a 48 volt inverter, but you don't want a charger, buy a Vulcan, use the 48 volt output. Don't use the charge. Who cares? So these are so well priced that, you know, if you want more charging, just stick another one on. You might have a situation where you put 2 Vulcans on and 2 of them come on when the genset's running, but only one of them comes on when you're running from shore power. So again, when the genset's running, you want to load it up. You want to charge this battery bank as quickly as possible. Put 2 of them on, but when you're in shore power, the limitation of the shore power simply won't let you use 2 of them. So just make it so only one comes on in shore power. You can set the shore power one to say 50 amps, because that's all your 16 amp socket's going to be able to produce. And then set that one to 16 amps, set the other one to full, 80 amps. And then when the genset's on, both of them are working. When the genset's off, only the shore power one's working, which has got the limitation already on it. So it's a very flexible system, but the key is to not look at the whole thing in one go, but build it up bit by bit, understand what the problems are and understand what is it you want to achieve. But without a doubt, the 48 volts, this is the way it's going to go. Well, it is going this way. It's not even me suggesting this. It's without a question, it's going this way. So if you're getting a new narrowboat built or an offshore boat, or you're doing a refit, absolutely well worth looking at the 48 volt side to get gas off your boat and get a lot more power on your boat. So hopefully you find this useful. Download the picture and, have a nice day, as they say. Thank you.